Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Samantha Genzer, and I'm going to be your show host for you guys today. We have a very exciting episode for y'all. We are going to be covering the new media policy in the WNBA and Caitlin Clark's Sideline Spat with her coach, eSport International updates, preview of the U.S. Gymnastics Olympic trials, the PWHL offseason moves, and make sure you guys stay till the end of the show to hear about the Oklahoma Sooners softball transfers and its impact on the team roster for next season. Before we begin, I wanted to ask you guys to like and follow our show, and to become a part of our show, you can tip and donate using the link gsmcpodcast.net. Also, we do get a lot of questions that come in from viewers during the show, so to ensure that your questions and comments get read on the air and answered, I ask that you use the link gsmcpodcast.net. This puts your questions at the top of the list so that I see them, and of course, it really helps the show. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. Now, let's get started. I hope you guys enjoy today's content. Okay, so we're starting today's show by talking about some WNBA things. We're going to be talking about the implications of a new media policy on rookie players and the heated in-game disagreement between Caitlin Clark and her coach, Christie Sides, which has sparked widespread discussion on coaching strategies and player roles in crucial game moments. So this past Sunday afternoon, the Chicago Sky celebrated a thrilling 88-87 victory over the Indiana Fever. Sorry if my mic is getting all in the way. I'm just moving it. I feel like I'm talking super loud right now, so I'm just moving it away from me. So they celebrated their victory by 1 point with the Indiana Fever. This marked their second consecutive win. This game was particularly significant for Angel Reese, as it was her first victory over Caitlin Clark since their encounter at the 2023 NCAA Women's Basketball National Championship. Since that game, Reese had faced Clark 3 times and suffered losses in each, with 2 of those on the WNBA courts. The Sky are now looking forward to their next challenge against the Las Vegas Aces on Thursday, which is tomorrow. So as the team prepares for this important matchup, there's a noticeable shift in their media strategy concerning rookies Angel Reese and Kamilla Cardoso. Under a new WNBA media policy, season access policy, teams can opt to exempt 2 players from morning shoot-around access each week. This week, the Sky have chosen Reese and Kamilla Cardoso for this exemption. Despite being shielded from some media engagements, both will be available for pregame and postgame interviews, including at the upcoming game against Las Vegas tomorrow. Given their high profiles as the number 7 and number 3 picks in the 2024 WNBA drafts, their limited availability has certainly not gone unnoticed. The intent behind this policy may be to protect players, yet it brings about several potential issues, especially for high-profile athletes like Reese and Cardoso. Angel Reese, known for her reluctance to engage with the media, seems a natural choice for this type of protection. However, by reducing her exposure, the WNBA may be inadvertently hindering her growth as a public figure, which is an essential aspect of her professional career. This interaction with the media is not merely a duty, but a significant opportunity to enhance visibility, engage with fans, and build a personal brand, all of which are critical components of success in the realm of professional sports. Kamilla Cardoso might initially find some relief from the media's glare, but in the long run, this could delay her ability to forge a strong connection with fans and develop her own unique brand. Media interactions serve as more than mere obligations. They are platforms where players can express their individuality, share their journeys, and generally connect with their audience. And as someone who is a student studying journalism, of course, I want to see these players interacting with the media. Moreover, the implications of this policy extend beyond individual player development to broader issues of equality and standards in sports. For example, if a male athlete in a high-profile league such as the NFL were exempted from media sessions, it would likely provoke public and media outcry. Equal standards in sports mean holding all athletes accountable to the same responsibilities, regardless of gender. By potentially lowering these standards for Reese and Cardoso, the WNBA might unintentionally imply that female athletes require more coddling, which could undermine the push for equality in sports. And women have dealt with that issue for so long. Since the start of the WNBA, there's been certain like sensitivity and coddling issues with women's equality in sports. It's very frustrating. Also, I wanted to add that this policy may also inadvertently reinforce outdated stereotypes about female athletes' capacities to manage public scrutiny and pressure, which is what I was basically going at, which is counterproductive to the goals of empowerment and equality. For rising stars like Reese and Cardoso, navigating media responsibilities is part of their professional growth, offering them a chance to enhance their public personas and marketability. The reason that Caitlin Clark got so popular is because of her marketability and her media attention. And by just exempting two players from that really limits their opportunities. And we have seen that Angel Reese has not gotten much credit for improving and increasing the popularity of the WNBA. So this is kind of very disadvantageous to her. So the WNBA's policy, while potentially protective, I see it as protective too in a way, might also be constrictive, limiting the growth of its players and the league itself. In striving for equality and player welfare, the WNBA should reassess the long-term effects of such policies. Embracing media exposure not only helps players like Angel Reese and Kamilla Cardoso develop resilience and a public presence, but also promotes the league's growth by highlighting the compelling stories and talents of its athletes. On more positive notes, I am happy to say that they are at least still getting that after the game, post-game conference and all that. So it's not just like they're completely exempt from media attention, but it's still like frustrating. So now let's talk more about some things that went down on Sunday night during the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever game. Caitlin Clark found herself at the center of a visible disagreement with Fever coach Christie Sides during the game's critical closing stages. Despite her capacity as one of the most formidable shooters in women's basketball, Clark took only 2 shots in the last 7 minutes, opting instead to pass to her teammates. This decision sparked a heated exchange between Clark and Coach Sides that was captured on social media, showcasing Clark's frustration through emphatic gestures and an exasperated sigh. This incident quickly became a focal point for fans and commenters alike, with many expressing disappointment over Clark's limited involvement in the quarter's crucial moments like shooting. Critiques ranged from calls for Clark to adopt a more assertive approach in her gameplay to criticism of Coach Sides' strategy, suggesting a deviation from successful plays like the pick and roll, which Chicago struggled to defend. Some fans limited the missed opportunity to leverage Clark's renowned shooting abilities, particularly in the clutch, where her track record at the college level had been nothing short of stellar, and so far in the WNBA as well. Adding to the debate, former NFL quarterback Robert Griffin III and numerous others pointed out that Clark should have been the one taking the crucial shots towards the end, emphasizing her role as a clutch player for such high-stakes moments. Meanwhile, others' voices argued that Coach Sides failed to create effective plays for Clark, potentially sidelining her talents when the team needed them most. In the aftermath, while some criticized her for not seizing more shooting opportunities, Clark defended her decisions, highlighting her trust in her teammates and her record-setting 13 assists that evening. Yet, even in her post-game comments, Coach Sides expressed a wish for Clark to have been more aggressive, noting a specific moment late in the fourth quarter where a decisive shot by Clark could have altered the game's outcome. During the post-game press conference, Sides said, "I never want her to not be aggressive and take shots. I thought she was going to take it to the rim or pull up right. That would have been a great shot for her and for her team." This whole thing really shines a light on what it's like being a young star in the big leagues and the tricky decisions coaches have to make when the game is on the line. When it comes to a player of Caitlin Clark's caliber, expectations are sky high, rightly so, given her track record as a top shooter. In some sense, rightly so. In the intense final moments against the Chicago Sky, her decision to pass rather than shoot raised eyebrows. Honestly, Clark probably should have taken more shots. And here's why. In basketball, particularly in those nail-biting last minutes, and y'all know for me saying this is meaning a lot because I'm a huge, pass the ball person. And I do really appreciate that in women's sports where it's very selfless, it feels like, in women's sports a lot of the times. But anyway, so me saying this is saying a lot. I do feel like she should have taken more shots. Like in basketball, particularly in those nail-biting last minutes, you want your best shooter to have the ball. It's not just about being, selfish. It's about playing to your strengths. Clark's ability to make crucial shots is one of her biggest assets, and with the game on the line, leading into that strength could have changed the outcome for the Fever. While teamwork is vital, recognizing moments when individual brilliance can shine is equally important. Clark stepping up to take those shots could serve as a spark, not just for her own confidence, but for the team's momentum in crucial game phases. Turning to Coach Christie Sides' decisions, It's a bit more complicated. Coaching isn't just about setting plays, it's about reading the game dynamically and adapting to the unfolding scenarios. By limiting Clark's opportunities to take shots in closing stages, Sides may have missed leveraging one of her team's best assets. However, there might have been strategic reasons behind her choices. Perhaps she was aiming to diversify the play to keep the Sky off balance, or to foster a more team-centered approach, preventing predictability. I don't know. Yet, in high-stakes moments, sometimes sticking with what or who works best is crucial. I felt like that it would have been like the easiest way to go. It feels like to be like, no, just keep shooting Clark. It appears Sides could have perhaps underestimated the impact of letting Clark take charge, maybe, which is something even seasoned coaches can learn from. In the end, while the intention to utilize the whole team is commendable, not making the most of Clark's shooting prowess when it counted might have been an oversight. Moving forward, integrating feedback from this game could refine the Sides' approach, balancing between, tactical diversity and making full use of star players. The public's reaction of Caitlin Clark's limited shooting in the game's crucial moments and her visible disagreement with coach Christie Sides has been loud and clear. Fans and commenters expressing frustration reflected broader expectation. When you have a star player known for clutch performances, you utilize that talent fully, especially under pressure. It is a true performance, show, not just a game. This outcry isn't just about one game or one missed opportunity. It's about what fans perceive as a misalignment between a player's capabilities and how they're being used on the court. So, I don't know. I just want to say that this reaction kind of highlights a couple of key aspects of sports culture today that I found because, this is going to sound so weird, but when I was younger and I would go to sports games, especially baseball, this is so random, but I would honestly think they were all set up. I actually did. That was just a stupid thing that I thought when I was younger. I was convinced that this was all set up. Obviously, I don't think that now, but I'm going to say that there is a big sports culture of having more of a performance in a game for media attention and for money purposes, rather than playing a good game or a valid game. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's making sense in my head, so that's all I'm saying. But anyway, so what I'm going with sports culture is, first, there's an undeniable appetite for heroics in sports. We know that people love seeing big players step up in big moments. It's thrilling, it's dramatic, and it's what many fans watch sports for. Second, the reaction underscores the growing influence of public opinion shaped by social media and instant analysis. Every decision made by players and coaches can be scrutinized in real time by thousands, creating a pressure cooker that can affect decision making both on and off the court. Also, the intensity of the response also indicates a shift in how fans engage with sports. It's not just about supporting a team, but also about understanding and critiquing the strategies behind the game. This engagement is a double-edged sword. While it can add depth to fan experiences and enhance their connection to the team, it can also ramp up the pressure on players and coaches to conform to public expectations. And sometimes that's not always the best thing because, your coaches should typically know best. Anyway, ultimately, the vocal reaction to the game strategy and Clark's role within a mirror sports environment that is more interactive and analytical than ever before, and I do appreciate that in some way. It also serves as a reminder to players and coaches that in the modern sports era, every move might just be as scrutinized by the fans as it is by the opponents. So, yeah, that's how I'm ending this segment here. We are now going to move on to the next segment where we talk about the Eastbourne International, which is a very important women's tennis event. Before we get into that, we're going to be taking a short little break so I can get a drink of water because I literally run out of breath whenever I speak. It's so embarrassing. Okay, so I will see you guys very soon.